thank you for being here this morning. I want to thank and welcome our local, state, federal elected officials, their representatives, our community leaders, the best band, I'm going to go in the state. And all of you, good morning. On behalf of Mayor Boudreau and City Council and the City of Mount Vernon, I want to thank you for celebrating with us this morning. As I was walking here this morning, I was thinking about other community celebrations that have taken place here in the City of Mount Vernon. Thought about other projects that have been taken on that have spurred economic development in the city. I'd like to think back to 1876 even, when the Mount Vernon community, I'd like to think, threw a little party like this one when that massive log jam that blocked river travel was removed, opening up travel and commerce on the river and bringing new life to what was once a dead-end destination. And we don't have to think back too far to 2018 to remember the celebration that we had at the completion of the flood wall that held back that same river and protected our businesses and our residents in our downtown core. And today we're celebrating another major milestone in this community that promises to catalyze community development and economic growth and investment in Mount Vernon. Milestone celebrations like this are critical. It's why we have birthday parties, right? To celebrate life instead of waiting for end-of-life celebrations. It's why graduation parties and promotion celebrations happen, rather than waiting for retirement parties. And in a little over a year from now, we're going to cut a ribbon and we're going to throw another party. But the motivation between now and then to persevere through the difficult process ahead is going to be fueled by reflection and the recognition and gratitude that we feel today because we took the time to celebrate. So thank you again for being here and for making this milestone so meaningful. I'd like to direct your attention over to the screen. Maybe you didn't know, maybe you just thought we parked a truck here. That's actually a screen. We've got a video we'd like to share with you.
I came here from a small town, a small community. I came into Mount Vernon and I found that same feeling. Community mattered.
We are so blessed to live in a space and a place like Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon understands its history, but is also willing to innovate in a way that many small cities aren't.
To me, a healthy community comes with that connectedness that you find in a public gathering space. We need a catalyst project to take our downtown to the next level of economy. And the community told us that they needed a new library. We wanted to find a good place that we could offer several different services. So a place for a community center, a place for parking, and of course, a place that made sense for the public library. And that's what our location does. It's perfect for all of those.
The life expectancy of public buildings is about 50 years, and our goal is at least 75 to 100. Our goal is to increase the energy efficiency about 60%.
Our city has grown a lot over the last 30 years, but our library has remained the same.
The building itself is outdated, and so that means we can only offer outdated services. The new library is important because libraries have really become that place where communities can come together, learn, and gather, and it really becomes that genuine hub of the city.
With the flyer stop, individuals could just step out of their car, step on the bus, and head south.
In addition, the Mount Vernon Library Commons is going to be an EV charging hub.
The idea that we can incorporate such a large amount of electric vehicle charging really fits into state, local, and federal plans and initiatives to move us forward in the use of electric vehicles. We're a small city, and so for us, we've got to have that partnership to help make this project a reality. And to have more than 3 uses in one project, it's efficient use of dollars.
We cannot do this alone. We need help to reach that goal.
We're asking you to invest with us and get us to that finish line. I see this project as a chance for us to become better.
She sees this project as a chance for us to become better. The average Mount Vernon resident maybe is just recently hearing about and learning about the Library Commons project. And that's fine. We can't wait for everyone to be as excited as we are about this project and about microphones that aren't on. Are we on? We're not on. But we're getting there. As I was saying, the reality is that Mayor Boudreau began pushing for this project and City Council began planning for this project at least 4 years ago. And you heard her say in the video that we need a catalyst project to take our downtown to the next level. But the essence of Mayor Boudreau's leadership may lie in what you didn't hear. What you didn't hear was her say that I want to take my downtown to the next level. And that's simply because at the root of all the mayor's leadership decisions is a passion for the public to see how government can get things right when government puts the public's interest first and foremost. She followed it up with the community told us that they need a new library, community center, and more parking. The community told us. And from there, she tirelessly went to work to deliver what the community said we needed most, often to the detriment of her own health. She has pushed through obstacles and roadblocks on this journey that would have stopped many leaders dead in their tracks. And so the fact that as a community, we are breaking ground today on this project is astounding, quite frankly. Some might say miraculous, maybe. But I have had a front row to witness firsthand how the relentless efforts of a leader who is driven to serve the best interests of her community can turn impossibilities into brilliant realities. Friends, please help me welcome to the podium Mayor Jill Boudreau.
Thank you so much. And I told Peter I wanted to see what he was going to say, and he wouldn't let me see what he was going to say. So thank you so much. But I don't do this alone. And there's a huge collaborative, supportive legislative body that sits behind me. Their names are Councilmember Juan Morales, Gary Molinar, Melissa Beaton, Mark Hulst, Mary Hudson, Iris Carillas, and Richard Brocksmith, who are the most diverse representation of our city on a city council in the history of our town. And so they deserve a warm round of support and applause. And bravely together, we've come to this decision and here today. Also, it takes city staff, and like Peter mentioned, a big value for me is to show how government can do things right. So our library director, Isaac Huffman, is on the stage. A brilliant vision of what a modern library could be, and amazing leadership since he's joined us. Folks that made it possible to be here today: Director Jennifer Berner, Parks and Enrichment Services, and her staff, our Public Works and their staff. They even ran the street sweeper for us, which I was like, I didn't even ask for that. That was just them. That's awesome. And all of our city staff that made it possible. A record NEPA process. And those of you who've worked in federal government might be astounded that NEPA was completed in 6 months. And that's kind of a miracle in its own, as people know who work there. So thank you to our city team. If you would help me appreciate them as well. Part of telling our story in modern times involves social media. So can you wave if you happen to have Instagram or Twitter? Thank you, thank you. And hopefully you're following our project on Twitter. And if you have, you know who Elliot is, right? And Elliot is here today. And we want to thank this amazing 11-year-old who has charmed U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. And if an 11-year-old can help us fill the last $6.5 million, I'm going to take that. So if you happen to have your social media, please take a picture, tweet and post today. Tweet at Secretary Buttigieg, tell him we still need money, we still need his attention. So I'd like you to take a minute and think of your own careers, your own family, the goals that you've set for your own lives, transportation, a house, an education, or hobbies and recreation and things that you like to do. I'm hoping that you plan for that, and most of you I'm sure do. The city does the same thing. We plan for population growth. We plan for economic growth to sustain city services like police and fire and parks and our library. We plan for roads. And today we celebrate the community's desire of and goals of what they told us that they believed in. It all started in 2008. A prior administration, a prior city council, there was a group that had careful, thoughtful planning, a citizens advisory group of 31 people, planning commission of 7, city council of 7, and they adopted a downtown master plan. That master plan was a roadmap for our future that identified 3 major goals. One is flood control, the second was structured parking, and the third was the ability to have infill development like housing and a hotel to sustain our economy. We succeeded with our flood control in 2018. Now we're on to our structured parking, and I hope closely followed by the economic development that this will open up. In 2014, the community also participated in a library needs assessment. We've had 41 years of the same facility. That's 2 generations of the same facility. And our stakeholder groups and our surveys told us these particular words that they were desiring for an expanded library service. The words are spacious, accessible, welcoming, and friendly. The top services that they said were more collection, more children's space and programming, more technology, community space, and a drive-up book drop. So we listened to that. In 2017, we did a sub-area plan for the area that we're sitting in, south of Kincaid Street, and how we could tie that into the master plan and develop our community further. That had 4 community groups, business owners, property owners, planning commission, and city council. And it was at a community forum where we laid out maps and we asked our community to draw things, put sticky notes. Where do you think things should go? And that's where the idea of a joint project at this location was born. We could accommodate structured parking, we could accommodate the library, the community center, all in one project that to us made sense for good value for taxpayer money. In 2019, we finished a concept design with the help of OAC, Integris Architecture, and Leidig. All of those plans kept continuing, and then we certainly weren't going to let a worldwide pandemic daunt us and stop us from our progress. So through the years of COVID, we dedicated funding for HKP to be hired as our architect and our design. And going through a purposeful, legally driven procurement process, they came out on top. So we were able to hire a firm that has so much legacy to our community, which meant a great deal to all of us. On August 24 of this year, we awarded the bid to Leidig Construction, and that leads us here today. Our city is worth investment, and our future is worth investment. The Mount Vernon Library Commons project is celebrated for its ambition and multiple uses in one civic building. So for those of you who haven't heard or haven't run into me and been accosted about me telling you about the project in the last few years, I'll just mention a few of the elements. Public library space. Andrew Carnegie, the Gilded Age industrialist turned philanthropist, who funded some 3,000 public libraries, called libraries palaces for the people in the United States and abroad. In an update of Carnegie's idea, public libraries have been described as social infrastructure. That means physical spaces and organizations that shape the way people interact. I think after COVID, civic spaces provide an important thread to the community's well-being and health, and our new space expands services into modern library, accessible to all, lifelong learning for all of us, connecting to each other as a community value. Flexible community meeting rooms. There's study rooms for 4, board meetings for 10, and Chamber of Commerce luncheons for 250, all supported by a commercial kitchen, serving events in that community space, providing cooking classes, a prep kitchen for food trucks and entrepreneurs, senior meal programs, etc. There'll be an outdoor terrace. It's about 1,500 square feet, but a place to bring your lunch or coffee and meet a friend. And then structured parking. Sometimes people say, well, how can structured parking be exciting? Well, it's infrastructure. As we densify areas in our state for more, making room for more housing and higher and better use of properties, going vertical makes a lot of sense. So 3 floors of parking above our civic space, 270 vehicle spaces, 8 motorcycle spaces, and we're excited to have 9 e-bike charging lockers as a growing need in our community. Out of all those parking spaces, you've heard of the 76 EV chargers, but we're also building it to expand to 200 as we need to. This will be the largest EV charging station in the United States when it's open. So why? Some people ask me why. According to data from the Department of Energy and local data inputs, we will need 198 public EV chargers to accommodate the growth of electric vehicles in the coming years. So we began planning, and so have other cities and companies. Just yesterday, Microsoft announced the purchase of property to accommodate their entire fleet of electric vehicles. Mount Vernon's foresight will prove to be first in. We're providing for the community, and we're also capturing travelers along Interstate 5 who we think will form habits here, which means they'll stop and they'll support our downtown Mount Vernon local businesses. The Commons leads our region, state, and country in their stated national priorities. This will be the first passive house design civic building, the largest EV charging station. We have solar, low carbon materials. We're setting an example of sustainable architecture for others to follow. We take a step today in funding collaboration with our county, state, federal government to fulfill the common goals of all of us. The project budget is $53 million, which is terrifying to all of us, I'm sure, and it takes a lot of funding. And while we've raised more than 90% of that, we still have a need. So please consider visiting the Library Foundation in the back there, because your contribution will add to the legacy and future of our town. We are a small city, a rural city. Why do we need these projects? And sometimes people think that maybe we almost don't deserve it. Well, let me encourage you. These investments yield a better economy for us. These investments sustain us, and done with thoughtful planning, they preserve our heritage of strong community with values of inclusion, knowledge, hope, and opportunity. It's my pleasure today to share this stage with leaders who care and who help and work for our success. Governor Jay Inslee has been a big supporter of the project. He proposed a $4 million allocation in his budget, and he's in Sweden today. But he wanted to send us a greeting, and so we have a short video message from Governor Inslee.
Hi, Governor Inslee here. Big congratulations to the whole Mount Vernon community. This Library Commons project is so exciting to me in the whole state for a variety of reasons. I'm obviously very excited. I think there's going to be 76 electric vehicle charging stations. This is the most, I think, in the state of Washington. We really appreciate Mayor Boudreau's leadership on this. It's been fantastic. And just to see Mount Vernon blossom, tulips are popping up all over. So congratulations to everybody. See you in Mount Vernon.
Congresswoman Susan Delbene represents Washington's 1st Congressional District, which spans from northeast King County to the Canadian border and includes parts of King, Snohomish, Skagit, and Whatcom counties. She was first sworn into the House of Representatives in November of 2012. Susan brings a unique voice to the nation's capital with more than 2 decades of experience as a successful technology entrepreneur and business leader. She serves as the vice chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, which is at the forefront of debate on fair tax code, health care reform, trade deals, and lasting retirement security. What I didn't really realize till I met her was that she served as the director of Washington State Department of Revenue. During her tenure there, she proposed reforms to cut red tape for small business. Susan has served Mount Vernon well, always being accessible, physically coming and visiting our city on multiple occasions, providing support since the Skagit River Bridge collapse, flooding events, public safety events, and to highlight her contribution to our project, she secured $2 million in funding from the Housing and Urban Development for the Commons Project. So if you could please help me welcome Congresswoman Delbene.
Good morning. It is so great to be here, and I just want to thank Mayor Boudreau, the City Council, all of the local leaders who have done so much to bring us together here today, and who clearly put a word in about the weather too, so appreciate that. This is an incredibly exciting day, and this project, as you know, has been in the works for quite a while. I remember walking through this parking lot with Mayor Boudreau, she probably remembers Sue, and she'd be like, okay, now we're standing in the kitchen, and then over here, this is the library, and you're gonna walk in here and do this. And so we went through multiple versions of design and videos that they had put together, just tons of incredible work to talk about the importance of this investment for the community. And so here we are, ready to break ground, and they always say there's nothing better than a groundbreaking except for a ribbon cutting. So we're look forward to that in the future. But the mayor alluded to this combined services, this investment in the community is really an example of smart city planning, but it's also about smart municipal infrastructure. And it really is about using taxpayer dollars more efficiently, building on itself to help the city grow in other ways, economic development, for example, and a community commons. It helps keep our communities more connected. Here we are along the Cascadia Innovation Corridor, obviously the I-5 corridor, and this project will help stimulate economic development throughout the region. And everyone's talking about EV charging, and clearly this being the largest EV charging center in the country really makes a statement about the future looking, the ability to kind of invest in the future and be future looking that the city of Mount Vernon is. So as they say, if you build it, they will come, and I think we're building ahead of it to make sure we're ready because people are coming right now. Now, the Inflation Reduction Act that I recently supported in the House and President Biden signed into law makes the largest investment in combating the climate crisis in our country. And the law includes historic tax credits to make electric vehicles affordable to more Americans. So as we see that investment in electric vehicles, more people driving, we obviously are going to need more charging infrastructure across the country if we're really going to make sure it's functional and durable nationwide. And the Library Commons is a key part of that. Through the bipartisan infrastructure law that passed in Congress last year, Washington State will receive at least $71 million to expand our EV charging network. And so projects like this one can expand that reach by also applying for a separate $2 billion competitive grant program for EV charging infrastructure that was put together in that law as well. And these investments really help connect this project to others in the region and increase electric vehicle adoption across the country. So this is a very ambitious project. I know I really, again, want to applaud the mayor, the city council, and so many others for their vision, the library for their vision and leadership here. We know that great projects also mean important big investments, and that's why I worked hard in partnership with the city to secure $2 million in federal funding for the Library Commons. To give you a sense of what that means, this was the first time since I have been a member of Congress that members of Congress were allowed to advocate for funding for specific projects within their districts. That was the first time we were able to do that, was last year. And so my office received over 60 submissions throughout the district for projects from Whatcom to King County. And we were only allowed to submit 10 projects, and the Library Commons was one of the 10 projects that I submitted. In the federal funding bill that we passed last March, all 10 of our projects were included in the final law, including the Library Commons. That's where we got the $2 million to help move this project forward. We got $7 million for our region, $2 million of which is for this project, and another key to helping get it across the finish line. So we're going to continue to work forward with the city to see this come forward. I'm just really honored to be here and to be able to be supportive. But this is an incredible community. It's been my honor to represent this community, to work with everyone. So many familiar faces out there. Again, I want to thank Mayor Boudreau for her relentless push, constantly being in communication and constantly talking about why this has been so important for the community. Your partnership, the partnership of others, really brought us to this day today. So thank you so much, and looking forward to more exciting celebrations to come.
Mount Vernon is really privileged to be represented by 2 legislative districts in our state. And so the 40th Legislative District representatives, they cover northern Puget Sound, including San Juan and portions of Whatcom and Skagit counties. Senator Liz Lovelet has served in the Senate since 2019 and previously served on the Anacortes City Council. She has built working relationships between state government and the people she serves, with the goal to promote environmental stewardship, balance community growth and economic vitality, support rural issues, and find solutions that put people first. Representative Deborah Lekanoff has served in the House since 2019. She's the only Native American woman to currently serve in the legislature. She's known for expertise and capacity to work with vast parties and on vast issues and get the job done. Representative Alex Rammel has served since 2020 and was called to public service to help address the climate and housing crises facing current and future generations. Would you please welcome our 40th Legislative District representatives?
Well, hello there, everybody. What an incredible crowd. I had no idea that there would be so many dedicated community members, our incredible brass band to welcome us here as we celebrate the fact that we are about to break ground on this incredible public project. So I'm Liz Lovelet. I am a 5th generation Skagitonian, and I just want to share with you that the power of a library. When I was 8 years old, I was given a book called 50 Simple Things That Kids Can Do to Save the Planet, and it changed my life. It fundamentally altered the direction of where I would head in terms of how I interacted with my family and my community. And now I have the opportunity to lead on climate issues for the state. So the fact that we're going to have charging stations and solar power in this library, the fact that we're going to have community kitchen to be able to help build entrepreneurship in our community and provide meals, that camaraderie of purpose, the collaboration from all the different levels of government. I'm so proud to stand here with my seatmates today, and I'll pass it over to Deborah.
Thank you, Senator. So, thank you. I'm Representative Deborah Lekanoff out of the 40th Legislative District. I often look at my 2 colleagues, and we like to say we're the A-team up here. We've worked collectively together to invest in our communities. When the mayor first brought this idea forward to us and to my LA, we were so excited. We quickly got a hold of Governor Governor Inslee. Governor Inslee's staff within a few days contacted us and said, we're folding it into the governor's budget. Mount Vernon is leading the way. We want to make sure that we're investing in our small town. I grew up in a small community in Southeast Alaska of 300 people. We didn't have a library. We had a little room in high school. I didn't know what community was and what community could do when you collaborate and work together. As your representative, I'm honored to say that little girl who grew up without a library is going to come in, walk into this library in Mount Vernon and see a wealth of young children, young people, adults, and community celebrating what we can do better together. So with that, I'll turn it over to Alex.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much. I'm Alex Ramel. I'm so excited to support this project, but more importantly, this community is so excited to support this project. It's fantastic to see everybody here. You know, I will just add that one of our goals in the last couple of years has been to do a better job of coordinating between our state government and our local government. And one of the things that makes it really easy for us to decide what the local priorities are is when everybody's on the same page. And that takes leadership, it takes coordination. We heard consistently, not just from Mayor Boudreau, but from city council members and community leaders about this, the importance of this project. That makes it really easy for us to come and say, we're supporting it. Thanks so much for the work. Thanks for the chance to be here, and congratulations.
I purposely asked our delegations to stand together because I want you to know that's what they do in Olympia for us, regardless of party. And that's an amazing example for all of you to see. With whatever you see on the news, that's not how it really works in our community. They stand together and they support. Our state has dedicated more than $7 million because of the advocacy of our legislative representatives. So next up is our 10th legislative district. And you may not realize that Mount Vernon's districts are divided by Division Street, which makes sense, right? All right, so the 10th legislative district represents Island County, parts of Skagit and Snohomish counties. Representative Dave Paul is an experienced educator. He has taught in higher education for over 20 years and most recently at Skagit Valley College. Improving transportation infrastructure that supports our way of life, tourism, and create jobs is a priority of his. Representative Greg Gilday, he's a third generation of his family to practice law and is a board director for a leading title and escrow company. Greg serves on the Housing, Human Services and Veterans Committee, Civil Rights and Judiciary Committee, Rules and Capital Budget Committees. Please welcome our 10th Legislative District representatives.
Hello, everybody. I'm Greg Gilday, and I'm the representative from the 10th District, as Mayor Boudreau said, which we're standing in right now, so welcome to the 10th. I'm very excited to be here, and as much as I thank Mayor Boudreau and the council for their support of this project, I'm more excited for the size of this crowd today. This is amazing. When I first got invited to this, I was thinking there was going to be a handful of people, mostly the people who had direct involvement in this, but this type of project, it is going to be a catalyst for this city, and it's not possible without the support of the community. And so, thank you so much for coming out today. It's very exciting to be here. It's very exciting to see everybody, and we have a wonderful day for it. So, thank you very much.
Hi, folks. I'm State Representative Dave Paul. It is so wonderful to be here today and to join you with this amazing groundbreaking. Greg and I did not coordinate, but we're both wearing Bulldog green. I want to thank the band. I've got a senior trombone player myself at home who's a proud Wildcat. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today. You know, our job is to listen to our constituents and advocate for what you want. I don't think we've had a single project in my 4 years that I've received more emails from you folks and from your neighbors about the importance of a project to their community, from the library to the EV charging to economic development for our downtown region. So I'm so proud to be joining Greg and our colleagues from the 40th that we put that project together, or that we helped with that funding, and to listen to what you folks wanted and to bring that to us, to our community. Thank you so much for all your advocacy.
Today, we're really honored to have all three of our Skagit County Commissioners present, Commissioner Ron Wiesen, Lisa Janicki, and Peter Browning. And so as Commissioner Browning makes his way to the podium, I'd like to thank the commissioners for their support. They were crucial because they decided that they would collaborate and sell us this chunk of property to make this entire half block whole for the project. So it's important that they are acknowledged for that effort. Commissioner Peter Browning began his term in January of 2021, but he served our county and community for more than 20 years in the public health department and is instrumental in reforms for efficiency in county government. So I'd like to invite Commissioner Peter Browning to make remarks.
Well, thank you. It's pretty exciting. This building is going to have an awful lot of uses. It's not just a library, but I grew up in libraries. My mom was a school librarian. I was a research librarian at Western Washington University in graduate studies. And I learned early on that books are really powerful, but also we need a place for our community to meet, to have events, and to be a welcoming addition to our downtown. Thank you to Julie Blazik and her team for this great design. Skagit County government is proud to allocate $1 million from the economic development funding. That's $500,000 in 2021 for the parking structure and $500,000 in 2022 for the commercial kitchen portion. When I ran for office in 2020, I saw this as a need and joined the other two commissioners when I was elected to make sure it happened. Mount Vernon's my home. I lived here since 1994, but many of you probably don't know my family had a house here for most of my life, and so I spent a lot of my summers here in the teenage years. It's a very important place to me. This building is going to be the entry point of our city, a city that's growing through a lot of really fantastic transformation, and this building will be perfect. Thank you to all the city staff that made this happen, all the funding sources to see this vision, but most importantly to our mayor, who is very tenacious and makes things happen. So thank you very much. I'm proud of this one.
Our last speaker to give remarks, just as the train's going to come by, is our HKP architects. I had no idea really when we started the project how much expertise, time, different disciplines it takes to make a project like this happen. And if you ever want to see the final plans, I think they weigh 32 pounds. Please come by City Hall or the library. And the bid document itself was over 2,000 pages. I'm gonna wait a minute because this is important. All right, we'll get them a little south there. So it's been remarkable to see this team come together, mostly through Zoom. If you can imagine building this project, with the Zoom collaboration, but between the engineers, the electrical engineers specifically, that had a big job on this, the landscape design, stormwater engineering, the design of the building itself. So it's an incredible pleasure to introduce Julie Blazik, the principal architect with HKP Architects.
Thank you. Well, it's pretty hard to sum up what we all feel at HKP today in just a few minutes, but I'm going to try. This is literally a dream project. We started our Passive House studio in 2014, 8 years ago, with a vision of designing the most sustainable buildings that we could. And for 8 years, we've tried to pull and push clients to this progressive standard. This time, we didn't have to push and pull. We had to buckle up because this time the owner was on the same page and had a similar dream, and we were moving at light speed.
This project has everything that we as an office hold dear as values. It's community focused, it's sustainably focused, and it serves to lift people up and help us be a better community. And we couldn't be prouder to be part of this monumental and historic day. We have a dream client. Projects like these usually always take that one person, that project ambassador, who takes the lead and doesn't quit until it becomes a reality. And as you've heard, that person is Mayor Boudreau. Yes. She understands the importance, the direct impacts, and the indirect impacts that this project represents. Her determination, mental and physical effort, and absolute will to make this project happen is awe-inspiring. City Council has been fantastically supportive throughout the entire process. Isaac and the library staff and the foundation have been truly amazing. And the entire community, who is our true client, has been incredibly supportive. We have a dream team, 50 plus individuals working nonstop the last 14 months. I'm so proud of the fact that 10 of the 16 disciplines on the team are led by women, and that 50% of the team are women. Thank you. So if you're looking for the architects and engineers in the crowd today, don't assume they're the guys. Raise your hand if you're with us today as part of the design team, because I don't have a chance to acknowledge you all. Their firm names will be up on the project banners that will go up soon, so take note. I'd like to especially recognize HKP's team of Christine Baldwin, Spencer Olsufka, Rochelle Hill, and Austin Miles for their incredible work. It's been an amazing, very collaborative, and very fun, even while challenging, experience to work with each and every team member. OAC has been great in helping support the city on the owner side, and Leidig is a fantastic addition to the team to execute the design. And this dream is now becoming a reality. And we can't wait for it to rise up out of the ground and open its door as a resource for all, and to serve as a shining example of resiliency and sustainable design that's not only achievable, but absolutely essential to our fight against climate change. I'm not entirely sure that people fully understand the significance of this project moving the needle forward, but they will soon. It's one thing for us at HKP to be involved in a project like this. It's quite another to be able to build this project in our town, 2 blocks from our office, and continue Henry Klein's legacy of work in the Valley. It's pretty emotional, and we're grateful to have been given the opportunity to apply our expertise here at home. For a community that has had a penchant for looking back at the past, and admittedly our office does the same thing, we are now clearly embracing the future and all the hope and progress it holds. What could be more exciting? What a dream. Thank you.
All right, well, that is our speakers and our program for this morning. Thank you again for being here. You may have noticed the golden shovels over on the side there. Those represent about 12% of our overall project budget. They don't. If you're from the press, they don't. We're going to do some photo ops over there. We're going to do it in groups because there are a lot of people that need to have their hands on the shovels over there. So the band's going to play for us. I want to thank them again for being here. Thank you again to our elected officials, and to Mayor Boudreau and City Council, and to all of you again for being here and being a part of this. It's been a wonderful celebration. Thank you.